have a little bit of a problem with video. Because it's like here on one hand, you have the whole world's in his hands. He's got me and you, baby, in his hands. He's got, you heard the song before? Yet, with the case, when you look at that, but then when you look at the world, lots of, exactly, evidence to the contrary. I like that. When you look at the names that I gave you earlier, seems a lot of evidence to the contrary of God and what His people are like or to be like. When I compare the two, I guess I just look at there being a huge family feud going on. Okay? And it's always gone on. When you stop and think about it. Why does a church like the experience exist? Why do churches plant and replant and sprout off and do all these different things? A lot of times it's, not always, but a lot of times it's due to people are drawn to those and whatever else because of family feuds. Okay? I'd like to suggest today, at least the feud that I'm looking at is not the world versus God's people, but the people who call themselves God's people versus God's people. Makes sense? Kind of a tongue twister? Not essentially the world versus God's people as we look at it, but the people who call themselves God's people versus God's actual people. And when you look at the church, I kind of look at it, I titled this sermon today, The Empire Strikes Back. In that there is something lurking, something dark, and something sinister that exists. And it exists among us. And I don't know what your empire is that strikes back at you. But I see that, at least throughout biblical times, it's always been the case. Where it was family member versus family member. Israel and the prophet, God's people versus God's prophets, and they would kill them. A woman in scarlet.